Hey, and we're back, guys, for Newbee Tuesday, and I forgot to turn on my monitor capture so you guys can't see anything but me. There we go, it's fixed. Awesome. So yeah, guys, let me move all this stuff out of the way. And ignore these fits. Some of these are me troubleshooting fits that we might be using for a CFC soon. So anything you see...
Are you leaking our secret fitting?
Just the stuff that I've been working on. So if you saw anything there, just ignore it. So guys, we're gonna open up a few different things here. We've got a Griffin. A Griffin is a Tech 1 frigate. This being Newbee Tuesday is, even though they're all Tech 2 fit here, I'm just going to show you some of the different things when it comes to ECM. Joining me today is Marconi's Porkbutte. He is the leader of Karma Fleet. And let me make this a little bit smaller.
Hooray! I promise I'll get a webcam sometime soon.
You said that last 2 times you've been on.
I know. I keep delaying.
Better? Yeah, that's better.
You can't see anything but beard anyways, so...
That's the best type of stream.
Yeah.
Why do you think I get so many people watching? They don't actually like me.
They're just tuning in for your beard.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely.
Maybe we could do a Newbie Tuesday on how to grow facial hair and maintain it. Just kind of like male hygiene.
Oh, we'd have to get Zal on. Zal has a magnificent beard.
He does, he.
Yes.
Alright, so I bought a Griffin. I'm in 327, and I'm ready to learn how to E-War because my E-War and experience flying E-War was basically in Brave way back, and not really doing it very effectively. I did lead some E-War fleets, but that's different because you're just warping in at ranges and warping out.
Okay.
But
well, the biggest thing to do is when you're first we're gonna start off with actually ECM, which ECM is shitty. Like if you see a solo PvPer and you're in a fleet and you have ECM, if you really want to make him mad and ruin his day, then you jam him when he's trying to solo PvP versus your gang. You've probably seen me rage out a few times about it. But what determines on if that ECM can jam you or not is your ship's sensor strength. As you can see on the Griffin here, with the max level 5 skills, our sensor strength is 20.4. Without skills, 17. There's this skill that increases that. There's one for each race, and it's like magnometric sensor something. I don't know what the actual skill is. 1 second. I don't know if I can look it up here. Yeah, I can't look it up here. But basically, there's a skill. It's called compensation, and it raises your sensor strength as you train up. You want to train all these level 4. Newbee Tuesday. That's pretty good. Pretty good. But what determines if you can be jammed or not is if the jam strength is higher than your signal strength. So with this Griffin, we're going to go with this white noise generator and go show module info. And it's got a radar of 9.4. 9.4 radar jam strength here. So 9.4 would not jam this this Griffin here. Even though
okay, wait. You're throwing a bunch of numbers out at me. So you're talking about math?
Math.
So do I have to actually know math in order to do, like, E-War?
Sort of. On a smaller scale, yes. On a larger scale, you just throw jams at things and pray.
I'm done with this. You didn't say I had to do math. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, mag-grav, radar. There we go. Yeah, thank you, Zal. But like white noise is for radar, so you would have a hard time jamming this anyways. So let me show you module info.
Right.
This is just the.
So is that why, like, you can't, like, if I'm flying around, because I have noticed that sometimes my jams, like, never land. Like, I'll even be, like, in a Blackbird or something, and we'll be trying to jam out something with my awesome T1 jamming skills, and it just won't do anything to them.
Yes, that's because their sensor strength is most likely too high compared to what you're jamming. And the math involved is here. Let me break out the calculator on my PC.
Oh snap!
Let's see, grav. Sorry, I need gravimetric. So ECM Named, I'm pretty sure named is better than Tech 2. So we're going to go...
Yeah, I think the meta modules are better.
3.6 compared to 3.6, 3.6, and then CPU 32, activation 57, 38. Yeah, so the named is definitely better than the Tech 2 version. Alright, so with this fit and on this Griffin, we have a 9.4 gravimetric strength. So 9.4 is still only half of the 20.4 strength of this Griffin, which what you can do is you bring out the calculator, and we're going to do 9.4 divided by 20.4 equals 0.4607. So then multiply that by 0.100, I think. No, sorry. You multiply that by 100. So...
Is there going to be a test on this later?
Yes, absolutely. If you don't remember this by the end, you will be demoted from CEO of Snow. So yeah, so you multiply it by 100. So it's jam strength divided by sensor strength times 100. So with one jam from this Griffin has a 46% chance of jamming itself. Like if you were to be jamming another Griffin with the exact same fit and skills, you have a 46% chance to jam. And let me create a notepad to write out. So module jam strength divided by ship sensor strength multiplied by 100 equals jam percentage.
I didn't want to interrupt you because you were doing maths, but I think Goldsnake had a really interesting point about blackbirds and falcons, having never really flown falcon that much, but being extremely annoyed by them. What's the difference between the two? One, of course, like one's a T2 and can go covert ops, and the other one is a T1 and can go like, get exploded.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like there's a lot more than just the cost difference between the two.
Well, they definitely had different bonuses. Like the Blackbird has a 15% strength and also a range bonus, whereas the Falcon only has a 30% strength bonus. It doesn't have a range bonus. And like Loki is saying, or like Zal is saying in chat, once you get the percentage, like I said, I have a 46% chance to jam. It's RNG. It's basically a roll of the dice if that 46% chance jams the target. So every time that module cycles, you're rolling a dice, and if it lands in that 46th percentile, then you win. You get the jam. So it's not guaranteed at any point in time unless you have higher jam strength than their actual sensor strength.
And I don't want to get ahead of you or anything. Is that why people stack jams? Like if you're going up against a fleet comp, like most fleet comps are going to be using scimitars as Logi, or guardians. So you're kind of either going to jam from Imitar or a Mar if you're trying to jam out their Logi.
Right. Well, then you don't want to throw all your jams on at once. You want to throw one. If it passes, then you don't do it anymore. If it fails, you do number 2. And if that fails, you do number 3. And you never want to have them cycling at the exact same time, and then you're wasting your jams.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready. I have...
Alright. So let me kind of simplify this a little bit. So the module jam strength, which is called M for now. So M divided by S times 100 equals jam percentage. So guys, basically that's your formula right there. M for module jam strength, S for ship sensor strength, and then multiplied by 100. Now we're just going to move this down here. And one of the things that you can do, guys, to increase your strength here is get an ECCM module, which raises us to 40 40 instead of 20. It gives this ECCM gravimetric too, which, guys, every race has racial jammers and racial ECCM. So you have to make sure you're using the right color is what it's typically called. It's not called the right type. You make sure you use the right color. For Kaldar, you have blue, Glinta, you have green, yellow for Omar, and like orange or brown for Mimitar. So make sure you have the right jams fitted for what you're going to be fighting. Carry a mobile depot with you. Carry multiple different jams. That way you can kind of refit depending on what you're going to be fighting. And this works for Griffins, Falcons, Blackbirds, Rooks, Kitsunes. Kitsune is actually really, really, really good ship for ECM because it gets a range bonus and a strength bonus. It gets a rather good range bonus too. It's 15% range and a 20% strength bonus. I have no messages on when is or here releasing more videos. I have no idea. Like, guys, say something in chat if I've lost you. Mm-hmm.
Well, now that we have the formula, which there will be a test on later.
Let me just fix this on my OBS real quick. Add window capture. All right. There. So that's always displayed now. And let's see. Let me look at chat for a second. Also, as a good defense for ECM, piloting away from ECM is good. You can break effective range and then dive back in to apply drones. Oh, that's a good point. Which I don't know, Zal, you might be able to correct me on this. Because does the effectiveness of ECM fall off with fall off range? I don't remember.
Yeah, I was wondering that because I'm looking at my Kitsune, and right now I don't think my electronic warfare frigate skills are that great, but my range is like 53 optimal, but the total is like 86.
Mm-hmm. All right, Zal just confirmed it for me as well. If you're in fall off for jammers, it loses effectiveness. I believe it's the same for all E-War. As I'm pretty sure they lose effectiveness if you're in fall off range.
Gotcha.
Yep. So you have your optimal range and then fall off. I don't have the formulas for that. I do, like I said, I only have the formulas for the actual how the jamming works, and I will actually show you the different formula here. Let's see if I can't butcher it. This is a Rook, and its jammers here, as you can see, is the multi-spec jammers has 9% or 9 jam points per jammer.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, you would take that versus whatever you're fighting. The answer is it varies for normal jammers. It loses jam strength when it falls off. For ECM bursts, the game lies like a filthy liar, and there is no fall off. 0 effect outside of optimal. That's a good point. And this is a my fit here that we stole. And when he was teaching me how the math works.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got another formula here that he gave me. Let's see if I can explain this without completely butchering it. So, and we're going to use the jam strength of our Griffin here, which has a jam strength of 20.4 without ECCM. Sorry guys, this sounds really, really bad and disconjointed because of the math, but we'll get there. We'll make it more fluid, hopefully. I blame the big red boat.
just undock and target something and put jams on it.
Yeah, class over. Class over.
That's my theory of how this works.
Well, when you have massive numbers, then yeah, you can instantly just throw shit everywhere. But whenever you're in a small gang and you're the one ECM ship there, you need to know what's going to have typically a higher sensor strength with what jams you brought and what doesn't. That way you know for a fact you can hit jams or what you can't hit jams on, because that's a big difference in DPS and coordination.
What about what we're starting to see and hear about, as far as people using it for defense of their solve systems and structures is just somebody taking out, an EOR ship and just sitting at long range and landing jams on them while they're trying to solve laser it.
Your problem there is getting within range of that target, because if it's a hiding ship, then by the time you warp in, it's going to be out of range. Let's see. Like a Kitsune, for example. And let's go with... Okay, let's just go with multi-specs. Let's say we don't know what we're going to be fighting against, so we're going to go with like 3 multi-specs and a MWD. 5. So with these multi-specs and the MWD, our optimal range is 50 kilometers plus 32 fall-off, and we have a jam strength of 6.
Mm-hmm.
So for us to, like, versus like an interceptor or something, we would land and have to get within range typically before we can ECM.
Mm-hmm. Why would you? I mean, I guess you're rolling more dice if you're not stacking them, but it doesn't seem like multi-spectrum is a really good idea these days. It just seems like it's such a short range compared to the other ones.
Well, the strength is lower is the issue with multi-spec.
Strength, sorry.
Yeah, because the optimal is the same. The strength is going to be lower though, but the multi-specs, if you have multiple of them to be able to roll the dice with them, then they aren't as bad. So we can also put signal distortion amps, which will be a buff to our ECCM here. We're going to go show module, and it gives a 10% bonus across the board to all the jam strength. So with 2 of those fit, our jam strength is 7.1. So when it gets Kitsune, our jam chance on multi-specs is almost as high as they were on the Griffin with actual dedicated racial jammers.
Oh, I see that now. Yeah, That's actually pretty awesome, because then you can just derp around and land jams on everything and not have to worry about like bringing the right ones. Because that's the one thing that really stressed me out whenever I was flying EOR, is not being able to bring the right setup for the fight.
Well, theoretically, or not theoretically, absolutely you're going to want to bring the right racials with you. Multi-specs are only there for those times that you're being, I guess, super lazy. In small scales, you want to have what you're typically going to be fighting. If you're in a certain area of space, people typically fly different things. So you need to do a little bit of research and figure out where you're going, or what you're going to be going up against. Or have your scout in front of your fleet tell you what their fleet comp is. That way you can swap your jams around before time. Because it only takes 60 seconds to anchor a deployable depot.
Right.
So you just drop it, refit, and then you're back to being effective.
Yeah.
And according to Zal, he said for general roaming, 1 MR, 1 Minotaur, and 2 Caldari jammers is a good loadout for a 4 mid slot.
Yeah.
How come? The reason that you want to always specialize is because you get a higher jam strength. Here, let me go back to our grav jammers. As you saw here, guys, 7.1 jam strength, and then on the gravimetric jammer, 10.76. So you get extra three, 3.5 jam strength from the actual racial, and not the Hypnos here, the multi-spec.
Yeah, Eska the Mexican is asking about the rig that also improves the jam strength, which I think it's the particle one.
Yeah. Well, for a ship where you're going to be aiming to disrupt someone and toasting your SOV, then you're going to go for range, not strength.
Gotcha.
And that rig is going to be, I think it's the inverted signal field. Notification that effectiveness fitted remote sensor dampeners. That's sensor damp, sorry.
That seems like a really good point.
Sorry, go ahead.
Add jam strength for T1 ships and projection to T2 ships.
Well, that's the way it is, actually.
Yeah. That's what he's saying for rigs. Like, that's the kind of rig loadout you should go for.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, Zal's completely right. Because, here, let me show you what, like, my showed me earlier. I'll actually paste it into my note card here. Is he? He showed me got me all the bonuses. So you guys should be able to see all the bonuses there in the bottom right-hand corner of the stream.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see Tech 1 Strength, Tech 1 Strength and Range, Tech 2 Strength and Range, which Kasuni is unique because it's Tech 2 and has both a range bonus and a strength bonus, whereas all the other Tech 2 ships like the Falcon and Rook and the Widow only have a strength bonus.
Hey, Dream Engine, what do you mean about the jam priority? It really just depends on what kind of fight you're going up against, because, I mean, you're gonna... Like, we're talking about, I think, like, 3 different types of E-War. We're throwing that around kind of really casually, which is not very newbie-friendly of us, Laz. But you have the kind of E-War that you use in large fleets, which is going to be more, like, range-dependent. And right now we're just talking about jams. We're not talking about, like,
in large fleets,
damps or anything like that.
Yeah, in large fleets, you will not use jams.
Yeah.
In large fleets, you will use something that's going to be more effective spread massively, which is going to be tracking disruptors and sensor dampeners.
Right.
Right now, we're talking about the most complicated of the ones. It's the ECM, and I hardly ever use ECM. I think I've used it once when I started playing the game, but that's why it sounds so horrible trying to explain it now. Is because I'm trying to explain something that I'm not an actual expert on. It's something I was taught today and yesterday.
Yeah, I think the reason that it's important to kind of even look at ECM is because of the fact that it can help save your solve if you have somebody that's indosising.
We should just call Zal and let him explain it. He's much more knowledgeable in this than
I think we should, because we're just kind of both like
Zal, you want to jump in, buddy?
Really bad at this. But yeah, it is an important distinction to make, because I think as a newbie you hear this generic term E-War and it's like, well, what is that? And there's all these different types of E-Wars. So like with the damps, you're controlling like things like lock speed and targeting range of, usually you're putting it on Logi ships, but the ECM, you're completely negating their ability to target and do anything.
Okay. Zal, message me. I don't remember what your Skype name was. I know we added each other. I just don't remember it.
Yeah, ECM is really easy. I mean, it's very accessible for new pilots. Like, you can hop in a Griffin or a Mollis and be extremely effective right away, or even a Celestis. And you can be extremely effective, especially in like big strategic fights, which used to happen but don't happen as much anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe one day they will again.
I'm waiting for ECM just needs, like, it's so retarded.
It's broken.
As I get roaming, I get roaming in Armageddon or Dominic's a lot of times, and I'll run into like a 10-man gang. I was like, all right, I'll brawl this 10-man gang, and then they uncloak like 2 Falcons, and it makes you want to kick a puppy, like literally. You just walk outside and see someone walking past their puppy and just drop kick it.
Yeah. Yeah, Esco the Mexican sensor damps are really good. I mean, I like damps and disruptors on my E-War flavor because they're always there.
Let's see.
They always land, and you don't have to do all this math that Laz is talking about. Stupid math.
Zal, if you want to... Actually, I think I still have your... Hold on, Zal. I think I have your TeamSpeak details. Do you have TeamSpeak installed? Porkbutte?
Yeah... No, I don't, actually.
Do you have Mumble installed?
I do.
Do you have TMC Mumble? Oh, wait, no, it requires an account now. Son of a bitch.
Man.
This is such a pain in the ass.
What? That's
right.
Okay. Well, we can continue
Thanks, Paper
bullshitting our way along, and
Kinjutsu.
We'll just keep referring back to Zal in chat, keeping us straight. Keeping us honest, Zal. But yeah.
Alright, so moving, I guess, a little bit further.
You really did decide to pick, like, the hardest thing to dive into. Like, right off the bat. You didn't even have like
that's why I picked it.
You didn't have like a warm up talk or anything like, "Hey guys, this is what Ewar can be used for."
We don't need no fucking lube.
I do. This hurts. I'm not used to having to undock and
Gold
think
Snake.
like this.
Gold Snake. I love his rationalization. Put multi-spec jammers on all the things, and if it works, then great. If not, rip.
This logic is really sound.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, all right. There. I had a formula for math I was supposed to show you guys.
It's on your screen, isn't it? It's in the bottom right-hand corner.
Here. I'm just gonna copy and paste it. So basically, let's take this rook, or this. Where's my rook? This rook. Let's take this rook for example. With this jam strength against a Cerberus, which it's a 10.3 jam strength versus a Cerberus's 28.8 sensor strength. And we're going to do the math here, which is the 10.3 divided by 28.8. 10.3 divided by 28.8. 3.75. So what we'll do here is we will actually paste this formula into this chat box. And our jam strength is 3.75 into our notepad here. And that gives you a 58.6% chance with the two multi-specs that we have fitted to this rook.
Wow.
And this is if you want to know the math side of it, which all of you guys are basically...
This is a really good formula. We'll definitely need to like pass this formula around because I would definitely use that.
Yeah, I take no credit for this. This is all in my mind when he was trying to teach me how to do E-War or ECM earlier today. So I'm tired of ECM. Fuck ECM. They should just delete it from the game because it's dumb.
Yeah, it's pretty OP. Like it's kind of like there's nothing you can do.
Let's see, I have a question. As a member of Karma Fleet, I have yet to see Main Fleet or Karma Fleet even ask for jams. It appears our meta is dead. Why talk in length about things that aren't even doctrine? Because this is a general E-War session, and we have to explain all the E-War. So we went ahead and went to ECM, which, like I said, you're not going to see in large-scale stuff. You're not going to see in any large fleets. You're going to see ECM mainly in probably 10 to 15-man gangs at maximum. Small-scale jams are extremely effective. The more people you add into this, they're not nearly as effective.
But it's something like you can. What I would like, my Karma Fleet snoobies to remember is like if somebody's around hacking our SOV or structures or anything, like the one person that you are can hop in a Griffin or a Blackbird and go to where that structure is being hacked, and you can warp in at like 100 and then get in range and land some jams on them. Now if they're kiting, like that's a whole other story, but if they're there, you can at least harass them a bit with one ship. You're using your ECM skills, and you can try to lock that down, and while others come to your rescue. So it's kind of a hero ship for the moment. Other than that, you're not seeing it in fleets, like Laz said.
All right, so moving on. We're going to go into sensor damps. Sensor damps are extremely effective, as you see them a lot in large-scale fighting. They're also effective in small-scale stuff as well. Sensor dampeners, they can be scripted, or rather they typically have to be scripted to be effective. You can script to lower the amount, or to increase the amount that you dampen the targeting range of the hostile ship, or you can do it for scan resolution, which is going to increase the lock time of that ship. Typically in PvP, you're going to typically only be using the range dampening to lower the maximum range of that target. In small scale stuff, you range dampen, that way you can kite out and not take any damage. Like if you're in a light missile destroyer or something, you can go with damps and sit outside of their range. If Zal's still here, he can link you a video of him in a carries, which was an extremely long fight because the carries does no damage, but he using long range damps, he was able to just sit there and kill a lot of ship, or one ship by himself without taking a single lick of damage.
Yeah, Damson target disrupting is definitely my favorite of the flavors. Somebody said earlier in chat that uh, there's just a lot of negativity about these large fleet fights going away. But I don't think that it's right to say that, these E-War fleets will disappear. Like, Goonswarm is well known for its fuck you fleets, of Celestises and things that are just a separate fleet component that warp in at range and do jams and warp out when they get in trouble. I think you're still seeing everybody react to what the new meta is going to be. I don't really think that there can be a definite, like, E-War is dead, Like, I don't think E-War is ever going to die. And I think if you don't know how to use E-War, then you need to, like, uninstall the game. If you think it's going to be worthless, that is. So, because E-War will definitely shut your shit down.
Yeah, it's linked now, the video of the carries. It's called Death Choke, because you feel like you want to die for how long that fight took. Actually, let me look at it real quick. Because it's like a 10-minute video or something ridiculous. It's a carries versus a thrasher and a slicer. Like, it's a really, really good watch if you want to take a look at that later. But with that, we have on the screen now the carries. It's an electronic attack frigate like the Kitsune, which has its bonuses is the warp scrambling bonus that you get from the Lachesis, as well as the dampening bonuses. So it's got two really, really good bonuses on it. I'll show that here. Center effectiveness and capacitor need, and then warp disruption range. So it's really good for kiting. Like talking about the range.
And if there's anybody that's like really new, that's like, why is he showing us all this stuff that's not in game? Well, as you're using, what is it?
EFT, E-fitting
EFT,
tool.
yeah. So you can use EFT. Is it E-fitting tool? Is what it stands for?
Yep.
You just Google it and download it. You can upload your character's API to it, and it'll basically let you see and play with fits offline, so you don't have to waste ISK and shit in game doing it. So it's really helpful. There's also PIFA. So this is almost like a class on EFT and PIFA as well, because there's a lot of cool things you can learn.
Oh, and it keeps you from having to actually go and buy all this stuff. And you can actually see the stats, like like you're talking about different functions. You got you can do damage graphs and stuff like that with with it.
And you can't see all that stuff in game, which is kind of obnoxious.
Actually, what I should have done, which this probably just shows the math for it. I just thought about this. Let's see, where is my E-War? Well, I swear to God, if this gives me a percentage, I'm gonna be pissed. Okay, it doesn't. Oh no, it does. Jam, 13% chance for jam. Son of, damn it!
I know, wrote a stream. It's burning my eyes too. I was hoping that Laz would be like spinning ships in a hangar.
What?
But that's okay.
What? What do you mean burning?
It's so much white.
This kind of white is burning. Yeah, that's. I don't know if you, can you change the skin on it?
I don't know.
Hold on. Let's look.
But yeah.
Can't. All right.
I know what you mean, though. I mean,
all right. So basically, one of the cool functions that you're talking about is this projected effects tab here at the bottom. And what you can do is we have a Kitsune here with dual signal distortion amplifiers on, and we drag this module here, this ion field module, into here. And it will take the stats of this ion field jammer and apply them to this jammer that you dropped in the projected effects. And then over here on the right, targeting, it says jammed 39%. That means you have a 39% chance of it being jammed.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So it'll go ahead and show you the math for everything.
Yeah, it actually does the math for you.
That's nice.
Which is really, really good. Like, whenever I'm FCing, I always have EFT open, and I will actually have the hostiles fit pulled up in EFT. That way I know the resist holes and stuff like that.
So I'll tell you, like, I don't know if you're ready to segue or switch gears or anything, but something that we're using a lot up north, or we were,
Hmm.
um, we're doing like what Theta does down in JUTAC, which is doing some defense fleets and gate camps with dummies, and accompanying those a lot of times we'll do like an armor Celestis
Hmm.
and armor Ewar and stuff because they can just sit there and annoy those, two or three spipples that jump in the Declan and realize that they made a bad mistake.
All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, Celestis are super good. That's why we use them in our fuck you fleets. Molluses are actually really good too. If the brave newbies used to do mass molluses and mass crucifiers.
Yeah.
And Ewar in general is extremely effective on mass scales when it comes to cheap, effective ships. Let's see if he's me on. And we're gonna go. So using.
Well, you remember like that brave newbies fight back in like the end of November in Head GP where they tackled PL
Mhm.
and kept all their supers on grid for
Right.
like 4 hours while Black Legion burned from like the other side of the galaxy to go fight them with their supers.
Mhm.
I think this was like right after what was it called? Phoebe? Yeah, this is like right after Phoebe. I think we whelped, I think, somewhere north of like 1,200 E-War frigates
Well, they're
in that
good.
fight.
I think
Yeah,
they're super, super good. Like they get zonked instantly if you get too close, but they're still super effective.
yeah,
And this Celestis, like he was talking about, the damps with hardening range damp scripts, will take this 81 kilometer lock range Kitsune down to where is it 38 kilometers with a single jam. So you just with one jam from the Celestis, not jam, sorry, dampener, you cut half of his lock range down, which means this Celestis can sit out at 80 kilometers and not worry about getting shot by this
yeah,
target. So when you start stacking them, they do have diminishing returns, but you see now with two of them, he's down to 21 kilometers. So he's gone from 80 kilometers to 21 kilometers, and with the Celestis typically going to be an armor tank, you have lots of mid slots to play with. So you look 3 down to 15 kilometers. So I mean, jams are extremely effective. Whenever you're in a fleet in a Celestis or a like Dominic's, our Dominic's doctrine fits dual damps as well. And basically, when you're in a fleet with damps, you don't want to apply your damps to a single target. You want to apply one damp to a target, then lock up a second target, apply one damp, lock up a third target, and apply one damp. And you want to blanket those damps across multiple targets, because what you do in a fleet is the FC gives the order for you to spread damps, which means every Dominix has a damp on one target, and then their second damp on a second target. And then what you do is you have a layer of damps, and these targets are already getting multiple damps from other targets, and that's the best way to spread them effectively.
yeah. Well, and then also when the FC says like spread whatever, what they mean is pick an enemy target. Like I don't think some people do it differently, but I always thought it meant pick a enemy ship to target that is close to your own name. Like if your name is an M, then you pick an M target.
That's what you want to do, but typically it's whatever the FC says. Like if you're going into a fight, you have two different types of dampening that you want to do. A lot of times, depending on what you're fighting against, I will like if you're fighting against Tech 3s, one of the strategies as an FC that you can employ is have your damps do scan resolution dampening on their logistics.
And then that makes you put that on the Logi, right?
Right, and then you scan resolution damp the logistics. That way, it takes longer time for those logistics to lock the Tech 3s because they have such a small signature radius.
Yeah.
And then you're capable of killing their Tech 3s before the Logis can lock them if you have enough DPS. So there's multiple different ways to employ damps.
That's happened to me a lot. I fly Logi most of the time from almost everything, and so I've been in several like Tengu fights flying a Scimitar, and my Scimitar will all of a sudden have a locking speed of like my carrier. So, like,
Well, let's see, Scimitar.
my untriaged carrier. It just takes forever.
Right. Well, and we can show it here, and just as a like going back to our Celestis, we're going to swap our scripts to scan resolution. And scimitars don't fit sensor boosters, so they can't do it, and they don't fit signal amps either. I don't think in our fits. But going to projected effects, we will go here where you see the little sensor icon on EFT. You can right click it, go to show lock time on setup, or not setup, sorry, preset, and let's just go with cruiser. And so we have a 2.6 second lock time on a cruiser with a scimitar. If you drag your scan resolution dampening over here, with just two of them, we went from 2.6, I think it was, to 9.9 second lock time with two damps. Of course, with a third, we're up to 14 seconds. 14 seconds of lock time. That's multiple, like from a railgun Tengu, that's 3 volleys. That's 3 volleys from a railgun Tengu before they're even locking the target.
Yeah.
So it's pretty effective. Pretty effective.
So Random Noob asked, how come you don't see scorpions on field that much?
Scorpions?
Yeah.
Because jams just aren't effective on massive scale. Only thing that you will see scorpions do sometimes is you'll see scorpions go for ECM burst, where they will go warp at 0 and they will ECM burst the targets and try to get as many break locked as possible. What an effective strategy has actually come out of people using scorpions that way is people are now using interceptors that way, where they will take 20 or 30 interceptors and they'll fit ECM burst to them, and because they're bubble immune, they'll warp to the middle of a hostile fleet with the ECM bursts. They will land ECM burst, then immediately fleet warp away. So basically, you can't catch them. They're fit for completely being able to escape getting tackled, and they warp through bubbles. So they warp in, ECM burst, and warp away, and you just can't catch them.
Yeah, those are some pretty amazing and fun ships to fly too, because you're having to just do so much like warping in and warping out. It's fun. I think the only time I've used the Scorpion was in wormhole space, and that was to aggro rats while we were doing escalations, so I've never used a Scorpion really in PvP.
It's the Navy Scorpion's really good because it's a huge tank, but it's also not based on Ebor. So
Yeah. Rip.
So yeah, basically, yeah, Suicide Scorpion random. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
And like Zal just talked about, lock time is life in massive fleets. Lock time is even more important in time dilation. So in time dilation, if you were to scan res damp stuff, like what an effective strategy that the CFC, now the Imperium, used in large tie-dye fights back in the day was against hostile battleship fleets, we would scan resolution damp all the battleships. So you have a battleship which already has an AIDS lock time, and then you scan resolution damp that AIDS lock time within 10% time dilation, and basically they can lock a target once every like 5 minutes, and basically they just want to quit playing. And it's one of the grief tactics that the Imperium employs. Is we make it not fun for you at all.
Yeah. But it's a good strategy too, because I mean, in those big fights, like people do alt tab and go AFK, and you know, it's all about increasing your odds.
Yeah, let's see. Totally Fly Suicide, some great info. Yeah. All right. So, anyone have any questions about damps in chat? Drop them in chat, guys. Any questions? Also, like Zal was saying, if you damp a target where you can't lock another target, it lowers the DPS. So in like small scale fights, if you have someone who is trying to kite and do damage with kiting, you put damps on them and it forces them to come into your targeting range. If you're in a brawling type setup. Do damps stack more? Yes. Do damps start? Zal. Thanks, Zal. Do damps stack for multiple targets? Yes. And that's what the Imperium does, and the other groups do in massive combat. Is you apply one damp per target, and then if everyone applying one damp per target, then it'll eventually have an even spread or evenish spread. But basically, everyone is at least getting some E-War 11. How do you combat getting damped? To combat getting damped, you can fit sensor boosters, anything that's going to increase your scan resolution or your lock range, which sensor boosters can do both with their scripts.
When can the FC just stop calling the targets and just start calling the people that are damping the lodges? That's what I want to know, Laz.
Wait, say it again?
So when can the FC stop calling his targets and start calling the damps? How do you make that decision? Like, if the damps are affecting your lodges too much and you're making that, I don't know, you're doing combat.
So that's up to the logi. That's up to the logi, whoever's the logi anchor. It's his responsibility to let the FC know that the logistics are getting damped out and you aren't effectively saving targets anymore. And as soon as that happens, then the FC needs to start pulling range away from the hostiles so that they can kill whatever's dampening. The issue that you're going to see a lot now is the Armor Tech 3 fleets you see in Nullsec. They have a lot of mid slots that are available for E-War. So, and that type of E-War you can't clear off the field easily, which is when you're going to have to jump in triage carriers and stuff like that to supplement, which can't be jammed.
It sounds like you've been in FC before.
Never. What's a good corp for a new player? Well, there's Karma Fleet, Panoramic Record, Eve University. Am I missing any? Brave Newbies. I think I'm not sure if Brave Newbies does new player stuff anymore or not. They've kind of been everywhere at this point.
I don't know. They're going through some rebuilding, but Karma Fleet, if you like, I don't know, if you like space and you want to live in the Wild West of Nullsec, where there's no NPC police to come save you, we'd love to have you. And we love new players and teaching them how to play Eve without limits, and learning all of the things that the Imperium has perfected over the years, and when it comes to winning and being bad at the same time. So, yeah, I mean, we all like to learn from our mistakes and we like to have fun, but we also don't take it too seriously. So,
Zal, have you actually ever seen remote sensor boosters used besides trying to make something insta-lock targets? We've used it. We've used it once in the Imperium, and that was to fight Slippery Pete's. And we fit remote sensor boosters on all of our Archons to remote sensor boost our Tengus to be able to hit out the range. But I don't think, like, on a smaller scale, I don't think I've ever seen remote sensor boosters used besides gate camping to make ships insta-lock. How you doing, Rhino, man? When you solo in a Mac. Huh. Interesting. Yeah. So...
Dude, I could see that, because Mach has, like, insane... it has really good tracking, right? And so if you can just lock faster...
Yeah, I mean, if he's sitting above a gate or something, then definitely. Let's see. Show module info. Yeah, so 45 kilometer optimal for remote sensor booster. Yeah, definitely. I just went on that tangent talking about how we never use remote sensor boosters, but then I just remembered that every single Dominic speed I run, I run 5 remote sensor boosters. Yeah, so... Yep. I just... Whenever I see guys, I use a Proteus. And my Proteus mid slots are filled with a prop mod and then 3 target painters, so I have no way to actually boost myself. And one of the important things... Which, let me remove this module and then show you guys here in EFT. So give me 1 second, guys. Oh, don't do that. One of the important things to know is that the remote sensor boosters have a higher bonus than actual sensor boosters. So to combat getting damped as an FC, I have people give me remote sensor boosters because they're more effective than actual target or than your personal sensor boosters. So you see here targeting range 40 plus 40.5%. and then plus 30%, and then 33% and 30%. Yeah, so it's pretty big deal. It's a pretty big percentage upgrade that most people don't realize. So if you've ever been in one of my fleets and you wonder why I'm telling Dominixes to bring remote sensor boosters, this is why. It's to combat me being unable to lock targets.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So somebody was asking about remote ECCM.
Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. Same thing as ECCM.
Okay. Sorry.
So, sorry, it's the same thing as remote sensor boosters. Let me find. I don't remember what remote ECM is under. Remote sensor dampener. I don't remember the name of remote ECCM modules. Chat help. So someone in the chat, help me out here. Backup arrays. Projected ECCM? I think this is it.
The projected ECCM?
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. Projected ECCM. There we go. Yeah, so a phase beyond ECCM caster, which is projected ECCM, gives a blanket 120% across the board. And then, so let's see, gravimetric ECCM. So gravimetric ECCM, guys, as you can see, is 96%. So a phase beyond, which is a targeted remote ECCM, gives 120% compared to 96%. From a personal one, so you get a big bonus here as well. So like these remote sensor dampeners, the remote ECCM is much better. So that is why in large scale fleets, the FC will always have you bring it. TMC TV, fuck ECM. Sidonia, buddy. Every time I go roaming in nullsec now with one of your battleships, I always get wrecked by a 10-man gang with ECM. Like I just want to brawl a 10-man gang and they ECM me and I can't shoot anything and I cry.
You should bring friends.
I'm just gonna start roaming with a 200-man fleet.
Start breaking Eve again. Yeah.
Any questions, Mr. Snoopy?
Well, I'm just sitting here orbiting our home station at 3T7, trying to jam out blues because I don't think it's against the rules to jam out blues.
No.
So.
Just don't be offended when they shoot back.
Yeah.
Some people will.
I'm not AWOXing, just jamming. So yeah, like I think that there's definitely a lot for new players to get into. I think sometimes people think that it's such a support role that they're not really being effective, and I don't think we've done a good enough job of really illustrating just how amazingly effective EWAR is. Because yeah, it's not like Logi where you're repping things and you're actively seeing progress, and it's not like you're doing damage and you're actively seeing progress, as you're in a fight. It's like there's a hard, like you landed a jam and it's like nobody will ever know except for you because it's like, oh man, my damps are 100% on target and they're never gonna go away. And that's a really great feeling. It's just as great as repping somebody or doing damage, but it is one of those things. It's one of the less glamorous roles in a fleet, but it's incredibly necessary, and it's where, with only a couple days worth of training, you can get in and start being effective right away. So everybody should get in and have some EWAR skills on your PvP characters.
Yeah. Well, and here, let me show you guys some more stuff, because like you said, the amount of damage that you reduce for your allies, like incoming damage from the hostile fleet, by using sensor dampeners and tracking disruptors and stuff like that, then you have a huge. It's a massive benefit. Like you're more effective than your lodges then because you're completely preventing damage at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the really great things about Brave before there was kind of all this burnout and upheaval back in the fall was like Brave had this really great thing in catch where PL was fighting Brave and not really because PL wanted any of Brave's Sov or anything like that. They just wanted the fights, but PL was outnumbered 10-1 on a lot of these fights, and so. The great equalizer because PL could drop supers and TFIs and all kinds of really fancy ships, and Brave really couldn't field anything really higher than a Tengu fleet, and so the great equalizer for a lot of those fights was the Ewar frigate fleets, which flew alongside the main fleet, and you would have like a 250-person Ewar fleet, insane, and they would be warping in and out and all around and stuff, and annoying the shit out of PL, which was great. There's a post, I think Rick Hoover posted it on Reddit, and it was like this picture of him and his TFI, and he was receiving 10 different Ewar things from different people, and it was just captioned like "fuck my life." But it's like that's really how you feel when you're being targeted by like a massive blob of Ewar ships. Is it's just sort of like
that's how I feel.
You might as well walk
with a
away.
Single Ewar ship. What are you talking about? I mean, just one Ewar ship gives you that feeling.
Yeah, I just those blobs were a lot of fun. We do, and it's something that because I was in Brave at the time, and we started doing that, and we did it because we were copying off of Goonswarm, which kind of really perfected it with the fuck you fleets and everything. But yeah, it's Goonswarm's always been a place where you try to like level lower skill points or lower experience, and put it at a lowest common denominator, and Ewar is a great thing for that. So,
well,
hopefully it inspires some of you.
Well, like Zal just said in chat, in small gangs, being a low SP pilot and an ECM ship is a million times more effective than a DPS ship or even a tackle ship. So being there in a Griffin in a small fleet, then you make people like me really, really angry. So I mean, Ewar is the biggest thing you can do to be an asshole in Eve. It's definitely something you should really, really stress.
And we don't really like stress it enough because everybody is able to go on all fleets, but there's certainly not as much utility, especially in nullsec. You don't really have as much utility when you're in a small tackle frigate than when you're in a small like Mollis, because if you're in a Mollis, you're gonna nobody's ever gonna say anything like great. We have Mollis pilot.
Yeah, and Small Red Foo says in chat, which is a really, really good example of it, is when the Imperium used to fly Alpha fleets, which is artillery maelstroms, which the downside to artillery maelstroms is they have an 18.4, I believe, second cycle time on their guns. So they fire the guns and they have to wait 18.4 seconds before firing again. And they rely on that massive alpha strike, which is the damage from all their guns firing at the same time to kill a target outright without their lodges being able to have a chance to lock it. So it just is, FC says fire, everyone hits F1, and then the target just disintegrates. What Small Red Foo says, they used to scan res damp the alpha fleet, which is the maelstroms, and that way a lot of targets weren't locking in time, and so you had an off count. So you'd have a group of guns firing, and then other ships, once they finally lock, they fire. And since you don't have that massive coordinated alpha strike, ships weren't dying completely, and they're catching reps. So Ewar can save you against a larger fleet. It's a force multiplier.
Oh, definitely. So I believe in it.
Let's see. You can fly a ship like a Blackbird within just a week. Yep, like Sotonia says, which Sotonia is extremely knowledgeable, especially at small-scale fighting. If you can go watch his videos, I think he actually made some videos for Eve is Easy where he explains Armageddon, which is Armageddon's extremely fun to fly if you've missed that.
Oh, I should plug Karma Fleet for this. We actually give away Celestises for free. So like, we just started this new newbie training program called Gooniversity, which is like just an alliance-wide um, community college for Goonies who might want higher education. I don't know. But like, we are giving away all kinds of things like free frigs, free E-War cruisers. We have the stockpiles in 3T7 and Yao right now, and then if we deploy, we'll of course bring those stockpiles with us wherever we deploy. So we'll make sure that if you're a new pilot and you want to feel like you're contributing, you should never be limited by ISK, because we will just throw ships at you for free.
Yeah, in chat, someone asked, what's the best frigate or E-War frigate to use? I believe Zal already answered it. Let me look. Yeah, Griffin and Mollusk. Griffin and Mollusk are going to be your most effective. The Crucifier is a niche ship, where it has...
They're really good at fighting Peats, aren't they?
Well, I don't even know if they can lock that far. Because Pete's a lot of times will sit within 130 and 200.
No. I'm thinking of something else. We used them against TFIs.
Yes. The tracking disruptors are extremely effective versus the TFIs like Brave used to use the Crucifiers. The tracking disruptors will lower the optimal range, and the TFIs, like the Alpha Fleet, rely on artillery's Alpha Strike. And if you lower the TFI's optimal range with their close range ammo, then they have to swap to lower damaging long range ammo. So tracking disruptors are extremely effective. And going back to the Imperium Dominixes, we carry scan resolution, or not scan resolution, but remote sensor dampeners and tracking disruptors in our cargo. And that way we always can swap out depending on what we're fighting. If we're fighting a turret-based doctrine, then we can put on tracking disruptors. If we're fighting a missile or a drone-based doctrine, then we put on the sensor damps. So E-War, which incorporated into the main fleet doctrine, like Ragnar Biles talking about with damps on Tengus, just little E-War that you don't really need a bonus for to be effective. Damps, tracking disruptors are the two that are like that. ECM, you really need a bonus to be effective, so that's why you don't ever see ECM really. Then, like, E-War is extremely, extremely effective, and that's why everyone fits E-War anywhere they possibly can.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy that, I mean, you can put it on, like, if you think about it, you have all these, like, specialized ships and everything, and then like, you take something like a regular E-War mod, you put it on a mainline ship, and it just increases the effectiveness of that mainline ship tenfold, or at least twofold, because you get two ships for the price of one, practically.
If you're gonna buy TD's match transversal, yeah, I'm not good enough at solo PvP to be able to swap on the fly like that. But people like Zal and Fentaru and stuff like that were super good at solo PvP. If they start getting damped, they know exactly how to adapt, and it's kind of crazy. Or if you're the one TDing, you TD them until they're in range, and then you swap once they come in close with close range ammo. You swap the tracking disruption for their actual tracking, and it's TDs are extremely good in the right situations.
So TRD asked if we're going to talk about cap warfare. We did have a class with Elise, and you were talking about the different kinds of caps, but I guess caps do have some E-War things, don't they?
I don't know if he's talking about caps or if he's talking about capacitor.
Oh, capacitor.
TRD, are you talking about capacitor or capital ships? Yeah, Ragnar, are you guys running the triple E-War setup, triple E-War MWD legions that people keep telling me about? Sorry, just waiting on a response. It's a little bit delayed.
Ragnar is like, I'm not going to tell you.
Well, I could just go look at the kill board.
That's true. He's talking about capacitor. So yeah, that is a type of E-War then, right, Laz?
No, capacitor warfare is kind of a topic on its own, because then you have newts and NOS, and then you have void bombs. I mean, we can talk about lockbreaker bombs. The lockbreaker bombs, they aren't that effective. People have tried using them in the past versus like logistics and DPS ships, but those bombers are most likely better off using void bombs and damage bombs. they're much more effective than ECM bombs because, here, I wonder if the bombs are even on here. Bomb launcher. Yeah, I don't think the ammo. Hold on. Hound.
Oh.
What are you groaning at?
And I'm trying to damp this Astero with, or not damp, I'm trying to jam this Astero with my multi-spectrums, and it's not working.
Ah, apparently Void Bomb is classified as a electronic warfare bomb under EFT. Interesting.
Really?
So charge info. So a lockbreaker bomb only has 12.5 strength, which means it has a very, very low chance of actually jamming or jamming things. Because we explained earlier, there is math involved. It's the jammer strength divided by the sensor strength, and that gives you, or multiplied by 100, and that gives you the percentage chance that your jam will actually work. What race sensors? Don't know. A Astero sensor is magnometric. Magnometric for Astero and Sisters V ships.
Sorry, Turtar. I was not intentionally shooting rockets at you. I was just trying to hit my jams, and I accidentally hit my rockets.
What do you be with Eve? Oh, well, TRD. We can talk to the guys on Mumble, on TMC Mumble, and they'll get you sorted, man. According to CCP, Newt's Nas's E-War. Yeah. I mean, do we want to go down that rabbit hole with Newts and Knots today?
I think we should talk about newts separately because it's like its own thing. I mean, we can talk about Geddon doctrines.
Well,
I mean,
Cap Warfare. Cap Warfare by itself is kind of a big deal that we can make a class out of. And, and we need more we need more class ideas anyway. So let's not take up one of our classes.
I know, right? We could do a class, but like maybe just do like some kind of gimmicky like capacitor roam, and maybe go fight BL or something down in Fountain.
Yeah, I'm sure Ragnar will brawl us. Yes, the Lockbreaker bomb does have a better jam strength than the Griffin. But just one of bombs, guys. Voidbreaker bombs and damage bombs are always going to be used over Lockbreaker bombs. Lockbreaker bombs just aren't nearly as effective as a Void bomb, which can nuke the cap of ships. The focus Void bombs are crap. Like, don't ever use the focus Void bombs. So I think we didn't really talk about tracking disruptors. Or target painters, which target painters we'll go into real quick. Target painters basically just increase the sig radius of a ship, which any fleet you'll see these days. Well, the FC will typically be running target painters, or they'll bring target painter dedicated ships like Vigils. Vigils are extremely effective ships that you bring into fleet with you. Anytime you see a CFC fleet, a lot of times you'll have some newbies and Vigils to help the main fleet actually be able to track targets. So a lot of the fleets do SIG tank right now because of bombs. So you have your Tech 3 doctrines, and then you have your armor hacks and stuff like that. And larger guns and even medium like rail guns can't really track that well or effectively without target painters to increase the size of the target. So target painters are typically a support type of E-War, like a remote sensor booster and stuff like that, where instead of using it to buff the FC with them, like remote sensor boosters and stuff, you're actually using it to debuff the hostile target. Sorry, I'm going back into like a WoW mind sense where you want to debuff the target, make them easier to hit.
Oh man, yeah. Don't bring up those days.
Get us under the armor. Make it take more damage.
Yeah, I always think of E-War as like the crowd control option, almost in a way. Like you can kind of knock something out temporarily. But yeah. On the topic of the tracking disruptors, I really like to fit them. I was flying a Crow fit for a while back when Crows had that awesome extra low slot. Mm-hmm. that had a tracking disruptors, or I would swap it out for like damps or something as kind of like my tank. So I just had like I would put a tracking disruptor on it and go up against a turret-based cruiser or something, and it would like never hit me.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few ships. Like the Kestrel is a decent ship to put a tracking disruptor on, and then use the Kestrel's rocket range to sit outside of typical like low sec. Most people's targeting envelopes are like 1 to 12K ish. So what you do is with the Kestrel, you can sit like a little bit outside of that because if I remember correctly, it gets a bonus to its rocket range where it can shoot a little bit further. I think 15 kilometers. So you can sit at like 12, 13 kilometers with the tracking or targeting. Can't talk apparently with the tracking disruptor and limit those blaster ships and those railgun ships who are going to be using close range ammo. You can do optimal range disruption, and then once they close the gap, then you can swap to a actual tracking disruption, which is tracking speed disruption script.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like the idea of like using TDs as kind of like almost an active tank if you're going up against turret-based things. So it's really fun.
Yeah, it's really effective.
And then, again, it just shows that EOR is completely broken.
Yeah. I tried using the Kestrel like I was talking about versus I think maybe it was Zal, and Zal just completely wrecked me. Or no, maybe it was Finn it was Finn because he was like, as soon as I saw it applied, I immediately started closing the gap, and I wasn't skilled enough to swap the tracking disruptor. So it's pretty good. TDs are a damage mitigation thing. Yeah, because I guess you can wreck the tracking disruption, and if the person's not smart and know what you're doing, then they're not going to swap to different ammo to make them shoot further or close the gap to be able to hit the target.
Mm-hmm.
You happy I'm not mining? Oh, Bimble, we had to do mining.
I made them.
Yeah, it's true. Porkbutte decides the classes.
That's okay. If you have ideas for classes, you can always message the channel, and we'd love to hear your input and do things. I mean, I don't have an issue really with recycling old ones because I think newbies, come and go, and we can always improve on some of our older topics, maybe ones that we don't have video for yet, because we're trying to post more and more of these on the website. But yeah, like I think that we kind of covered a lot of everything. So just get out there and start e-warring stuff.
Guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in chat. Sorry. I'm sorry about this episode. We needed a proper expert, and we had one, and he kind of dropped out, and then we couldn't get one in a short amount of time. Personally, I blame Zal for not having Skype. That's just my personal opinion.
I know. Yeah, we'll definitely have, I think, more stuff next time, so you're not just looking at spreadsheets in space and EFT screens and stuff.
Yeah. Well, you should definitely get EFT. If you're new to the game, get EFT, play around with it. Like I said, you can do a lot of different things. Just start right-clicking places, and like you can do different damage profiles. And then,
I like this. Original thinks that we should do a cooking show, Laz.
A cooking
show, yeah.
I'm really hungry now.
I know, I am too. I'm gonna maybe go do some cooking of my own here.
Well, I'm already been told that I need to make a makeup video. So.
Oh yeah.
So we can do the makeup video, and then we can do the cooking video, and then you guys can call me Martha Stewart.
Well, I think it's important for all these nerd streamers out there to like know how to apply their look, their signature look.
Well, the reason I have makeup is because of you. I blame you for all this harassment that I'm getting
You're
now.
welcome. I'm looking out for you. That's all. But yeah, we'll definitely come back hard and heavy with some more Newbie Tuesday stuff. And I think if we could get ideas from you guys and get your feedback, we really appreciate that. Because we're always trying to look for ways to improve. And then if you are not in Goonswarm or Karma Fleet and you want to come experience all of what EVE has to offer, including scamming and all the dirty deeds that Goons are known for, you are more than welcome to come and try it all out. and then be a part of the university. We'll teach you how to be really bad spies and all other kinds of things, nefarious and stuff, and also good things as well, like how to not be bad at certain things. That's my pitch.
I was cooking show dedicated to Eve. Talk about the circumference of the pan as an orbit. You want to make sure the egg doesn't get too close to the edge, or it might be overcooked. I mean,
we need to put and we could talk about how butter is kind of like a sinusoidal because when the butter goes in the skillet, and you know a whole bunch of other shit's going on top of it.
Laz, let me in the goons and give me a blank check to kill all the things. Maybe Zal, we might be able to do that. Zal, if you want to stream for TMC, we can probably arrange some compensation, pay for your ship, stuff like that.
Yeah, Zal, I would pay you to just take Pravi, one system at a time.
He probably could. Zal's a badass.
Just one-man army.
Yeah, Zal, if you're interested, buddy, just message Mark at themittani.com, email-wise. But guys, with that, I'm going to close down this train wreck. No thanks to Marconi's Porkbutte for his assistance today.
You're
Asshole.
welcome.
And guys, we'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks again for tuning in. If you have any questions about E-War, message Zal.